Oh, we're live. Oh, that's exciting.
Again, bang at 3 o'clock in Germany, 2 o'clock at your side. And it's the
UK
first
time.
Advent today. So happy first Advent
First
to
of
you,
November.
Shireen, and to everybody
Oh,
who's watching.
and happy first Advent to you too.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. So it's 20, how many days? It's 25 days to Christmas, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah. So it starts normally from, yeah. It's my mother's birthday tomorrow, which is wow. When she was alive, it was her birthday. Yeah, on the 30th.
Whose birthday is tomorrow?
It was my mother's birthday.
Ah, your mother.
On the 30th of November. Yeah. So she was a fire sign, kind of like you.
Well, Sagittarius. It's a different fire than the Aries, I suppose.
Yes. It's a very different fire sign. Yeah. They tend to be very wordy, and most Sagittarians I know love to play with words. They're very much in that kind of realm. So yeah, for most of those that I know, Andrew's mother was also Sagittarius. Father, sorry, Sagittarius. So yeah, interesting, really interesting.
And tomorrow is a very important day. It's a full moon and it's a lunar eclipse.
Yes.
It's a very, very potent day together with the solar eclipse coming up on the 21st of December. It's just going to be a massive day. People say, like, cosmologically, astrologers say that this is going to be the portal into the new age of Aquarius, where we end the cycle of the earth and going into the air age, air sign age. So everything is going to shift. And so how do you feel about that?
Well, yeah, it's a really interesting thing because when we're moving into air is very much in our head, isn't it? Air is about is about thought, a lot of thought and a lot of thinking. So there's going to be something about how are we going to make sure we ground that to some degree, so that we're not just in that space, but that we're actually also bringing heart to it, which I think is really important. Yeah. So. But I'm quite excited because I was reading something this morning, and which was all to do with how we change neurologically, and more awareness on the things that we can do to shift dimensions, to shift into a new space of being. And we're all moving out into ourselves, aren't we? So many people are learning to become more sovereign in themselves, more able to see and be who they are. And this is what's so nice now, is that's really part of what the age of Aquarius is, isn't it? It's about being able to step out and be, so that you can start to be truly becoming. Yeah.
But for me, this is the first element before anything arrived and manifested firm. It was on the medicine wheel in Norse mythology, Norse tradition. This is before anything was conceived.
Yeah.
This just potential. That's like the mist, or it is like air.
The mist, the air.
So it's full of potential, and I think this, for me, since I work with a weird field, this is like of nothingness, but at the same time, where everything originates from. I think it goes together very well with the wind, and that's how we can create to our intentions, to the right set of mind and heart intelligence, of course. That's how we can bring the possibilities into life much, much quicker. And it also requires to let go much, much quicker, because the earth elements, like of the last 300 years, it brought industrial revolution, all materialization, but it also caused a lot of harm on human nature. And if we stick to this materialized form too very strongly, we're not moving forward. It's not going to last. And that's why I think everything crumbling together at the moment is actually a rebirth for this new thing to happen, which is going to happen very quickly. If we set the right intentions, we can heal Mother Earth very quickly, because the technology, everything is available for green revolution for the last 30, 40 years, or the zero field energy field. There are enough deserts for solar energy. The technology is available. But for us, if we hold too tight, this is the negative aspect of the earth. It's like I'm not letting go. Then the transition is very difficult. So I think there's a lot of potential to connect with this element of wind, and let's go and let it flow.
Let it go, let it flow. Yes. Yes, exactly. And I mean, I think the summer, the winter, the moon eclipse, the lunar eclipse, which is on tomorrow, that's really in the sense of this idea of learning, in the sense of in the sympathetic parasympathetic system. That's, I equate with the kind of the sea stuff, the stuff that's sort of deep down, that stuff that needs to come up, and to be able to kind of undo that kind of past conditioning which sits in that part. So it's really about bringing that up and letting it go. So literally biting the head of the dragon, which I think is where who is biting the head of, taking a bite out of the dragon. So I think that it's really important that we start to look at things for what they are, and then bite it, take it away, and then just let it flow out, and we move forward. And I was thinking about the wind this morning, because I was looking outside and I thought, I just so love to have the wind on my face. And I was thinking about going up one of the hills recently, and I thought the one thing I really love is the wind, because the wind is there and it just clears everything away. And so and I always feel so invigorated once I've done a lot of walking in the wind. The wind is such a magnificent, just clearer up of our thoughts, but it also makes us feel much lighter.
For anything, like if we use it consciously, like, and why it's this cleansing energy of the wind. And so I'm very excited about this time, but which also requires to stay open to a lot of release.
And that's why we're doing this, because this is a way to begin that process of releasing and also recommitting to something else, recommitting to what we want to create.
Well, there are so many tools available, and I'm just so happy that we are doing together like one of those tools, which I find is such a fun way, where we bring in so much to sharing, like the astrology part and the gods and the goddesses and the elements, and I mean the possibilities are endless. And it's so exciting to have a space and a practice, a tool. There are so many tools available. I'm just so happy that I was hearing myself twice there.
I know. I thought I had crossed off. I went onto Facebook just to see if anyone had joined us, but I was hearing that, so I had to quickly shut it down. Sorry.
That's what I was hearing. Like, oh, what is this?
You were hearing you. You were hearing you in duplicate. You were a Gemini for a minute. So
and for me, it's my moon time as well. Like yesterday night, it always comes for me during the night. So I'm bleeding now, which is for me a very special time. And I think, again, this is very aligned with today's energy of the wisdom keeper. Because bleeding is the crone phase where I get most visions, and I just don't want to do much and just lie there. And that's where I receive the most visions. If I just give myself the space. Luckily, I no longer am working for any kind of employers where I have to stick to some working hours which don't suit my moon cycle. So I can just do it according to my own cycle, which always means for me 2 days is really being like a recluse. And just take things very slow and use the time a lot for my visions. And this is the wise crone time.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
this is also the Beregini for today, the wisdom keeper.
Yes, yes. And she's, you know, as I look at that, I see a sort of a square within a square within sort of almost like you're looking through different portals is what comes up for me at this minute. Yeah, as I start looking at that.
Yeah, and she stands for secrets.
Yes. Hmm.
An affirmation: I have access to my inner divine wisdom, intuition, access to inner hidden knowledge, can look behind mask, which is so perfect for bleeding time, I think. It's just,
Yeah.
and since I no longer believe in coincidences and I try to feel deeper, most of the time it's like really feeling into it and into this possibility. What does it bring to me? And I think I feel that this is so fitting for the crone phase, to
Yeah.
just take it slowly and really feel and trick in on so many levels, like what wants to come. Yeah.
And now as things are moving away, we've got things to come in. So really spend a little time looking at how we can release ourselves of other things. Luckily you kind of right in cycle with it right now, given that it's, you know, nothing's ever coincidence, but you are in cycle. So I wonder what wisdom is going to come today.
Well, I certainly feel already very connected to the Norns. Like the Norns are always my deepest well of wisdom, because weird is also a very old Anglo-Saxon word for urt, which is like the Norn of the past. Yeah, and it's also like another name for this well of endless wisdom where the Norns sit. Yeah, the word tree Yggdrasil. So for me, always the Baba Yaga and the three Norns are very present, and I connect with them even more stronger. Or like the raven, just my Beregini, main Beregini, and that's also like embroidered here on my dress, as in the center. And yeah, and then I connect with those energies. Or the raven, who is also a shapeshifter. The raven can travel between all worlds, no matter where, and if we give her the intention, she brings the messages, and just have to be open to receive. So for me, it's a very exciting time.
It is certainly very exciting. And yeah, I think the fact is, and what I am curious, because you know, in the 70s they always said that was the age of Aquarius coming, and you mentioned today that this is kind of like saying that this is really the age of Aquarius. So I'm curious about that and how that is, you know, was that not the case, or was this was just like the slow surge towards the age of Aquarius? And how long is the age of Aquarius, do you know?
Well, it always depends which calendar we use, and all different traditions use different calendars. So according to the Western calendar, which I think is 269 years, but I have to look it up. I'm not 100% certain on that. The cycles change. Yeah. So currently we are in the Pisces time.
Yeah, Pisces. Yeah.
Pisces. Yeah, and also an earth elemental cycle, which is coming to an end. I mean, the Vedic astrology says we are in the Kali, we are in the dark ages, and their cycles last even much, much longer. Or the Maya calendar lasts very, very long. I think 2,600 something years.
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's kind of like just going with the flow.
Which calendar are we using?
Yeah, maybe just really noticing what's happening as the shifts with all, and we're also noticing probably the effects that we have on the earth, which we haven't really noticed. And we're also noticing that as we've had increased social media, we are making bigger differences individually in a way, whereas before it wasn't the case, because we were so disconnected in the sense that we didn't have enough connection, but now we've got a lot of connection. It means that just one person can make a big effect, even more. And I think this is what part and parcel of what it's about, is that we're making bigger effects, and we now can see our effect in the world. It doesn't take such a long time. It can take just a short time and we're already there.
Yeah, and it requires our intuitive powers again, like really feel into our own wisdom. What is calling out to you the most? Like I, for example, after yesterday's day of the communicator and speaking about the snakes, I looked up the language of Harry Potter. Yeah, because he is able to speak with snakes. And it came to my mind that in a very old Ved Russian calendar, where of course like the books which inspired me a lot, Anastasia books, and this whole tradition of embroidery is said to come from this very old Ved Russian tradition. And they've got their own calendar. And there we started in September, around September of this year, the age of the green snake.
Seriously?
Yes.
Wow.
That came to me yesterday, like, oh, yeah. So I listened to that again, as well as a man who is doing always like videos around this, around those Ved Russian traditional topics. And yeah, so now I'm very connected with this shapeshifter snake energy, which is, of course, it's exactly this in between, this not knowing something is dying and something is being rebirthed, like she sheds her skin. But we cannot put a name on it. Like yesterday, between the 5 and the 6, what is this? It's like maybe we don't know it. This is the weird, it's the unknown.
Yeah. And one thing you know, that with snakes and with anything that's shedding its skin like that, is that there's a period of vulnerability, really a period of absolutely just being open, because in that moment in time, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, literally nothing you can do until the scales harden up and you can move on. So it's an interesting aspect of just noticing about that. So what it might require in a way is that vulnerability, or that ability to hold that space where,
which is again so perfect for bleeding time, because women used to go into a red tent when they were bleeding, and they were just supporting each other and away from society, from everybody else, because they just want to be left alone. Because you are vulnerable in this time, you're weak. And so if somebody is dreading on you, it's like it's like increases stress levels. And I'm, as a mother, then I'm really in the bad mood and everything. Because really, if you do it go live a life with the cycles, like older tradition used to do, you go in a red tent and you support each other with other women who are bleeding, and and then you come out refreshed. And then you can give to others, but not when you're bleeding. Is there anything else which came up for you from yesterday?
No, I was just really curious about all the synchronicities that are happening. And I think that what was really just had come to me now was that space of the vulnerability, the need to really nurture ourselves, really. If we're going through this transition as a world, we're going to have to learn to hold each other in a way that's going to be helpful, so that we can be stronger for each other. And so that's what that sort of came to mind, because there's two things when you watch. So unlike snakes, unlike other animals in general, what happens is, if you ever think about how they eat as well, if they eat, there's also a period where they're vulnerable again. So where they can do nothing. So if you've ever watched snakes eating, say, an egg, or eating another snake, which they often do, or another animal, they, at that moment in time, they are amazingly vulnerable. They can't do anything. And if you look at something like the anaconda, that has this big animal inside it, it's live and everything sort of ferments inside it. But it's really at its most dangerous chance of being predated upon or to be hurt. So there's something so fragile about a snake and yet so strong. And so it's just really looking at these kind of dichotomies and thinking about that. And that had been sort of part and parcel of my thinking. More now, actually, as I'm thinking about it, and how is this relating to what we need as a communicator? Where do we place our communication? Yeah, that's kind of taking me down a spiral, another coil, which is always it always comes up, because I think we are, as humans, we're once we start firing up, we wire up, and we find all this that we haven't really thought about, and we start to see those connections, which is amazing. It makes life worthwhile, more exciting.
Yeah, and there's this ongoing becoming, isn't it? You don't stop. I just read it like recently. It's like somebody was talking like a lot of people focus on just living in the now and just on being still and being, but it does not represent the reality. Yeah.
No.
Because we've always constantly connected with our past. Yeah. Which if we don't deal with it, like healing the inner child or connecting with our ancestors, it's going to come up in a very unexpected and triggering way. So we are always connected to the past. And of course, we can make our intentions, set intentions from the present. But at the same time, we are always already becoming. There is something breathing us forward while we are here for, like our future self. And it's always like this interplay. That's why the three neurons come as the past, present, and future. And it's good to meditate and to get into silence, but at the same time, that's where I think it's so empowering how we do it with set intentions.
Yeah.
What do we want to become? What is pulling us forward? Yeah, what is our desire like? And to consciously use all those different existences and timelines. Yeah.
Well, they are all ways in which we become united in all those worlds, I think. And certainly I think the brain is all forward thinking. It likes to work to go forward. It doesn't necessarily want to go back, which just makes us avoid going back as much as it can. But the thing is, it's excited about the future. It's always excited about forward movement, because that's where dopamine hits come from. But when we go back, it can take us into places we don't want to go. And so it's on one level, it doesn't help us evolutionary wise to keep going back. It's almost like the paradox. We have to go back in order to make the changes and deprogram so that we can go forward. But it's almost like from a biological perspective, it's not the right way to go. Yeah. So we often resist going back.
Yes.
And we don't necessarily think of it in the sense of, well, the past is going to inform this future, and it's always informing the future. So why not have a good past that's going to inform the new future?
Yes, and that's so beautiful, because the known of the future is called skuld. And so many have asked me already this question. This is like should like it's like debts, isn't it? Like what you should, or like your debts. And so many have already asked, so why would you call it like a known of the future based on what you have done in the past? And this beautifully explains what you just said. Because we automatically can only live the most optimal future, when we have resolved our baggage from the past.
And I think someone said something which was really, when I was talking to her the other day, she said we use the word re-soul. We re-soul ourselves instead of like not resell, but re-soul, S-O-L-E. And it sounds like, we go back and we add and we connect back to our soul, and we re-soul ourselves. We then resolve ourselves. But we need, for our body memory, the charge needs to be resolved. So we need to have the new soul in our past in order that soul can now create the future. So it's interesting when you think about it in that way.
I never heard that before. The soul.
Yeah, soul. I know that there's only one soul, but it's how we are integrating that soul.
Yeah, I love this. It's like when I read about Harry Potter, the whole story behind that. It's also about the different soul parts of this Voldemort. I mean, I just started watching it with my son. Like, it was the second film we watched last week. But this is already what, caught my attention. It's very interesting. Many different threads coming together.
Yes. So shall we start? Because we've just started talking, and
yes.
So we set the intention.
So let's start to invite the wisdom keeper in. We are still in the first circle, and today this is the Nav word. And if you see in the free ebook or in my book where all the Bereginis are, it's very exciting because the first Beregini from every cycle, it's always in red. Then the middle is red and black. And the third one, the Nav word, is always black, the symbol. So it's come from our roots, from the word tree, from our ancestral roots. So let's
today, first time.
Well, the third day I actually took out straight away the right. Yeah, so may all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings remain free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings remain connected to sacred joy and happiness that is totally free from sorrow. May all beings come to rest in feeling of security and peace. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. And so be it.
And so be it.
So, I'm curious about the tarot card today.
Right. We'll let's just do a quick pull. Okay, we'll just give attention for the wise women, the wisdom seeker. What wisdom shall we have today? Right, what have we got here? Looks like the 10 of Pentacles. The 6 of Pentacles. Oh, the 6. The 6 of Pentacles is what we got. Let's do it that way.
Is that the word tree there in the middle with the whole different?
It's the tree of life, or it could be the world tree. But look, look what I'm noticing. I'm noticing the deer at the bottom. That's where my attention is going to.
Oh yes, 2 deers even.
2 deers and 2 monkeys. There's still a bird down there, but that's taking my attention. I mean, there's other stuff, but the 6. I wrote about the number 6 in yesterday's one, where I talked about the 6 being the 2 pentacles, the two triangles, and it makes the Star of David. And what happens is nothing, the letter 3 is not coming into it. You need the 4 or something stable to come into materialization. But if you have the 6, it's 2 3s together, and you get the materialization of that. So that's what the 6 is. And 6 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is Tippereth in the Kabbalah, which is this one in this case. And that is about being, it's kind of like the Christ consciousness, the sense of being that the child, actually, in the tarot it's the sun card, almost like. So if when you look at that, so it's the part of the child that in a part. So that's interesting. And I'm just being very curious because I haven't written, the last time I drew this card, I didn't notice the deer in it. And I happen to know that you've been painting a deer. Your beautiful
It's
deer.
my
with
medicine
healing.
bringer at the moment, my healing animal.
Yeah.
The white deer, especially.
But in the tarot, the Six of Cups is a man carrying his in the Rider-Waite with it sort of like an emblem of success coming through. So he's with his friends. He's riding on a horse in the Six of Wands, and you have success. So 6 is normally about success, about security, about things shifting in a good way. So we wondered what was for the 5 to the 6.
The in between.
It was the in between, and what do we need in order to get the success? And this is Pentacles. So Pentacles is actually talk about a physical manifestation. So that's quite interesting.
And I can spot the horse on the top. Isn't that a horse?
I think it is a horse. Yes, those are horses.
Because on first day we had the Equus rune, which is also my sun rune. My soul purpose rune is a horse.
Yeah.
And I'm in Chinese horoscope also a horse. And there I see the horse at the top.
Yeah. Now that's interesting because the horse is, I mean, there's a chariot being carried on most of them. But yeah, this is interesting because they often have different animals on the top. So it's curious that we've got the horse. So yes, yet another synchronicity.
And yesterday I've spotted above the White Queen, there were like 2 birds.
Yes. Let me just try and bring it closer so that you can see. Is there anything else that you are noticing?
Well, the monkeys and the 2 white deers and the other birds all around.
Yeah.
And what I'm spotting is those people seem to look up, whilst yesterday they were just
doing their own thing.
Yeah, didn't even notice the Queen at all.
Yes, and basically in this one they're looking up to spirit.
Yeah,
they're being guided by spirit. Yeah.
And it's open. Whilst yesterday she was like in an embryo, like really vulnerable, like we talked today about, like in an embryo state, you are also vulnerable, but nobody was caring about her at all. Like, it was strange in a way.
I just realized I put her away because I need to take a picture of that. I'd forgotten about that. Right. So
so we have got the 6 pentacles, you call it?
6 of Pentacles. Pentacles. Yeah.
So the 6 of Pentacles are in the field. What else is in the field for us to?
And I did the see if we can get it at an angle that you can see.
Yeah.
Can you see the different colors?
Yeah.
Can you remember the colors from yesterday? These are pretty much the same colors, even with the same blue line coming down, which is really incredible that we've pretty much got the same colors. So I'm quite surprised because that's unusual.
And that's from the very start, because yesterday it was at the beginning, it was all blue.
It was blue, and then it moved more to gold. Remember, it moved sort of to goldy, pinky colors down the bottom, and then we had a bit of white on the one side, and we had kind of a green line coming down. And the green line's still coming down. So often when the lines are coming down, it's something pulling in. Yeah. And when it's around, it's normally about thinking about the particular. It depends on which level. The very first layer, the etheric layer, is the layer that's sort of closest to our energy. But as we move, as the energy expands, we have different layers with different colors, and those colors are the layers, the colors of the heart. So we're moving into more the heart space colors. When we go into the golds and the pinks and silvers and things like that, we're going into the heart colors. So I'll have a little think more on how that's playing in, because there are 2 different colors over there. And then I can just balance and see what we get, because it's like an onion. We may be sitting in this layer, which has held us the whole day, because we, when we left after we'd done a balance, we've been thinking about the Beregini. We've been thinking, I was carrying her with me. So, and I wonder when I did it, I still had her with me because I've taken her out of my bra now. So I'm going to put the new one in. And maybe that's why this came to be the same, because she was holding that resonance. Oh, that's quite interesting. She was holding the resonance still for when I did it for this one. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll do a balance while we work with the other one, and we'll see what comes up.
Yeah, very curious.
I'm curious now because I had forgotten that. I'll just
and the card for today, the Earth Keeper.
Ooh.
From the Mystical Shaman card, number 18, the Earth Keeper.
So is a number 9. And if you bring it down in numerology,
if you bring
it
9. Together. And it's interesting because we started the conversation like the Earth cycle comes to an end before the wind arrives, the air cycle on the 21st of December. So that's interesting. So we are still in the cycle of leaving everything what no longer serves us, letting go what does not serve us. And here, like, I don't know whether it's visible because she has got also wings. It's like she's like flying then with the earth.
So
that's interesting because wings for me also represent air. Someone who is flying.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the positive aspect, and not just getting stuck on earth and not moving.
But there's ultimate freedom. You have the ability to move and use the wind to take you somewhere.
So obviously, yes, I will photograph later the meaning of the guidebook and send it to you, like send it in the group. Like I did yesterday with the child, but
yes.
This is the Earth Keeper. And the rune for today is Raido.
Raido
stands for the wheel of life, life's wheel, being on the right path.
All right. Okay.
Moving in the right direction. It's not reversed. So, following the cycle of life, the wheel of life.
Very interesting. I don't know a lot about that. Do you know more about Raido? Tell us a little more about it.
Well, it's primarily, that's what I said. It's the life's cycle. It's like moving in the right direction. The wheel of life, in summary. Yeah, and the color I felt today to embroider on is on the red,
right,
and the black underground, because it's like an ancestral black crown energy. I feel full of secrets, like the weird. And since it's a black color, the thread, I use it then as the foundation and embroider on the red.
Yeah.
And that's how it looks like. I find it so interesting because on the outskirts, it's exactly the same, like the Beregini of the goddess from day one.
Yeah.
Then yesterday it had the cross in it. And today it has got like a third layer, like around it in black, a square. It's like she encompasses now everything which came before and weaves it all together in a foundation. because she's the wisdom keeper.
Interesting. I've just knotted up some stuff here. So that's interesting in the essence of what goes on. And why did that get caught up in that?
Why
No
was this?
problem.
Was there a knot before you started?
No, I didn't knot it. I went through it. I went through the actual. So what I'm going to have to do is try and pull it out. Unknotting the knot, whatever that knot is. Let's go with it. There we are. Hopefully that'll work.
I actually never put a knot in.
No, I haven't got a knot. I haven't got a knot.
I always do like a stitch to make it firm there, but I don't do a knot. So raido. So we are on the right path, the right cycles.
Well, we're building from the bottom up. So we're creating a good base with which to get things to work. It's kind of like the tower yesterday. We have a rock that's there that knows we are strong in that space.
But of course, the wisdom keeper, she keeps even more inside. She's got more extra layers and can look behind masks.
So she can see deep inside.
For me, wisdom keepers are elders. Like we had this conversation before, like children. They are very wise. Like yesterday, the essence of the card also explained that children are wise through their beginner's mind and naivety, but it's not embodied wisdom.
No.
And this comes with being an elder, because you really lived through those different experiences. And that's, I think, what this extra layer is there in the symbol. So wisdom keeper, she lives through the experience and embodies them and keeps them inside.
Yeah.
It's like you have to ripen into it. You have to live through it.
Well, you have to make sense. You have to bring, because when you're born, you have wisdom. You have, but most of us are born to adapt in the world. So we have probably a lot of our cells, brain cells, but we don't have the connections yet. She's made the connections. Yeah, she sees the world and the patterns and things like that. I'd imagine, if I think about it from that perspective. Yeah, I mean, we're born. If we, I was reading yesterday, if we were born big enough to be, what we would need to be as say with the capabilities of what an ape has, we would have had to live in our mother's stomach much longer, and we would be much bigger. Yeah. So in order to, what happened was we had to learn how to, we were born earlier, so our brains were less developed, so that meant that we would be able to be able to adapt more, and also that, of course, that mother could survive. So there was a really good example there. But if you look on MRI on a baby's brain, there's pretty, other than primary neural connections, you don't see any connections. Pretty dark. There's gray and white matter. So it's the baby, as the baby experiences, they start to grow. They intend growing. I know it sounds really weird, but as they start making those connections, there's an intentionality. The neuron says, oh, I need to grow to this place. I need to make that kind of connection. Yeah, I hadn't thought about neurons like that, but actually, isn't that what they do? They grow for purpose.
And grow for purpose, for the earthly experiences. I mean,
yeah.
The most spiritual people explain like the soul comes to embody all those experiences, or chooses to come on earth to make all those experiences, or on purpose, to a certain will, like to fulfill all its purpose, why it came for on human earth. So that would explain that.
It makes sense biologically.
And they have actually got different waves, outer waves. Newborn babies, they have got like what they call like theta waves, like people only have if they're like in deepest meditation, like outside of all the thoughts and programs and everything, like just really God's conscious streaming to them, and they can measure it, and they call it like theta waves, and that's what newborn babies have. That's why we feel like we're looking at angels when we look in the eyes, and nobody can resist. The babies look, it's like, oh wow, you're really in a different world, because they really are. They really are from this highest kind of waves. And as they go through life and grow older, become more and more earthly. And you add more layers. Like the picture at the beginning, which you've shown, like got all different colors representing our energy fields from the human experience.
I hadn't thought about it like that, but I think that is certainly a different way of thinking about it. Yeah, they do have the theta waves, and they basically spend a lot of their time sleeping for the first 24 days, certainly. So they stay in that wave. It's almost like they need to be there to have the maximum growth potentiality that will afford them later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's not a coincidence that people who are in this meditative state or practice like lucid dreaming, like a lot of shamans do. I actually read a fantastic book, also from the Siberian author Olga Karidity, with her first book, Entering the Circle, which has been so inspirational to me to remember about my ancestral roots, like of Russia, especially shamanism.
Mm-hmm.
Her second book is about lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
And it's called Lucid Dreams. And in German, it's called Samarkand, because in Samarkand, it is said that the oldest healers tradition, they heal all traumas through dreams. And they work with symbolism like we do. For example, the oldest symbolism they use for protection is the swastika. But it's a different kind of, because Hitler used it in the against clockwise.
Anti-clockwise, yeah.
And so he turned the whole history and the meaning around of this oldest symbol. And for example, before you go to dreams, or set an intention to be protected or anything, or to invite certain dreams in, you should put the swastika around you, or go into the swastika, and the oracle is then in the swastika, and then turn the wheel. There we are with Raido again, because swastika is about turning the wheel with the right intention. Where do you want to travel? Where do you want to heal traumas? There's so many traumas in human history, and you can heal them through dreams, through lucid dreams. And in Samarkand, in this tradition, it is said to be the oldest oracle, which is much, much older than the Delphi in Greece, in a certain place in Samarkand. And that's why Samarkand has also got an ancient name of the mirror of the world. So all dreams of all human existence meet in the oracle there. And by means of this swastika or like through conscious lucid dreaming, you can go to this oracle, you become this oracle, and you can heal all traumas, like anything what you put your intention on. And it's very powerful, very, very powerful. And you can measure nowadays that in this form of lucid dreaming or the highest state of meditation, you also have got these theta waves. Yeah, which is the conscious or of God, of the field, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. It's very fascinating for me.
God consciousness, yeah, definitely.
Very fascinating to me. And that all of us have got the same power and abilities. It's not even complicated.
No. That's the amazing thing, if we would just let ourselves go there. And you know, it is, there are ways to get there very easily. And it is just to visualize with intention. Yeah.
Yes.
Just to visualize with intention, you can get there quite easily. It's not such a hard, and breathing takes us there very quickly.
Exactly. And I mean, the whole shamanic journeys are based on that. And a little bit what we are doing now, it's exactly that. We use certain symbols to get ourselves in the field. That's why it's like old wisdom, transmitted wisdom. In this ebook, there are also like explanations if you want to intend something particular in your life, you can use a certain symbol, and the more you work with it, the more you either can heal something, or you can bring healing into your wealth, finances, or whatever it is. Only a lot of times when we have got limiting beliefs, we are not open. And then we cannot receive this wisdom. Then it doesn't work. Then
sorry, carry on.
Then what is present then when it's a limiting belief and it's not working? Because a lot of people say, like the book The Secret, for example, has got also a lot of bad reputation, because people then just wish something positive but say like, nothing is changing in my life. Yeah. Because scientifically, this book is, I think, is soon 20 years old. Obviously, also the science has developed since then, like epigenetics, for example, can prove nowadays. Also, the relative theory works exactly the same by Albert Einstein. You cannot change something with the same thoughts or with the same structures. So if there's a deeply rooted trauma, or like something in your consciousness, and we remember the ice mountain, that 98% of our potential lies in the subconscious. And if there is something which holds you back, you can imagine and wish the best things in the world. But if you've not received what lies underneath in your subconscious, then you cannot heal, or you cannot receive the full power of the source. It cannot happen. That's why the wish cannot be fulfilled until you resolve the limiting belief or an old programming which is not serving you.
The secret is to find that old program. That is the secret. What is it that's going on? And sometimes you have to go back to a same event, because that same event can have many little hooks in them. So sometimes you may say, oh God, I've resolved this. And so many times as clients have said, but I've gone through this, I've resolved this issue, and we've landed at the same place. And then I just go, well, maybe there's some other learning that you didn't remember something. And your body only wants you to heal. It'll only take you there because it wants you to heal. So what is it that you didn't learn?
Yeah.
What is it that you need to learn now with this new level of consciousness that you have or know? What's the knowing that's going to help you in this moment?
Yes.
And maybe you'll come back here again, but maybe you won't. It just depends on what it is that keeps bringing you into this space. And I think the more light we put on anything, the lighter we're going to become, because the energy of the light will always shift it to a higher frequency.
Yes. And the universe is built out of spirals, isn't it?
Yeah.
Out of a torus. So if we feel like there's again the same old experience coming back, it's just a spiral which has evolved, because there's always ever just an evolution. Even if we think we are stuck in the same old experience, it's just because it's the spiral just turned from a different direction for you to look at it in a different way, or an invitation for a new enlightenment. But we can never ever stand still, because it's always evolving. It's like a spiral, always spinning.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's really helpful in just always understanding that we are never going to stop spinning. We're never going to stop evolving. Even when we kind of move beyond this earth, we will still be evolving, because this is energy. Energy always wants to evolve. That's its imperative. So yeah.
That's true. Unless we die. And when we die, we just don't know.
We don't know.
So many people have got their own experience, but I think this is the unknown field, which should stay unknown and just open for possibilities as this in between, the weird.
Well, if we did know categorically that, how might that make us live our lives would be very interesting. And would we then, if we have that kind of certainty, would we use our life to live well? Or would we, we would just naturally expect we're going to go there, and we don't have to do anything?
Well, I'm quite glad that there are some mysteries out there.
Yes, I think it's a good idea to have some mystery.
Yes.
I think knowing everything isn't necessarily helpful.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the spice of life would not be there.
Yes, that's true.
We'd have nothing to discover.
That's true. And everything has got its own timing. And since you mentioned everything cannot go back and stand still, it's always a process of evolution. And I just trust in it, and without having to know it.
Yes, between the 5 and the 6.
Yeah, whatever it is, I can also just leave it in the unknown. I don't have to know it on all grounds. And I even finished today. Just outside, but I finished the Wisdom Keeper.
Nice. I'm nearly there.
And it's so interesting that it's still always in time, isn't it?
Well, you've been doing this a while now, so it's good that you are able to do it. And this time I'm going to have the right number.
Which is?
4. But I think it
interestingly,
brought up a lot of really important information, which was, that just really paying attention to the 5 and the 6. Did we learn so much? We learned so much yesterday, I thought. I mean, I didn't know Hecate had basically had snakes, that she's depicted with snakes. I didn't know that. I didn't know she was known as the shapeshifter, or the person of the crossroads. I knew other things about her, but I didn't know that. So it was really nice to find out more about her.
yeah. And did any god or goddess appear to you today?
None has appeared yet, but I will sit with her and see who comes up for me. I mean, I suppose the thought that I get and the words that come is Salome.
Mm-hmm.
And Salome was a wise woman, wasn't she, in the Bible? Salome.
So who was Salome again?
I don't remember too well, but I'm sure she was one of the wise women in the Bible. Salome. I'll have a look on the internet and have a look and find out a little more about her.
Oh yeah, and send that in the group.
I will. So she's come up. I'm just wondering why that is.
So it's 4 o'clock here. The time to close our circle.
Yeah. Did anyone come up for you at all while you were?
Well, for me, the Norns and Baba Yaga,
right.
or it came beforehand.
Mm.
Because I'm also bleeding and everything. So for me, it's clear those are my guardians, the wise ones.
Right. I'm done. There's mine.
Just I've got the last stitches on the outskirt to close it in.
Yes, I'll have to do mine.
Maybe some last closing words.
Well, I will. Oh, right. Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing of what we're doing here, and I suppose the last closing words is just really understand or be aware of the number 6. The 6 is resonating for me, and I suppose when I'm thinking about why Salome comes in, because Salome is the S is like the snake, and in Hebrew, the S is also the serpent, the shape of the serpent eating itself. So there's, again, it seems to be running around for me, that thought. So I'm just going to go back and see if I can get the next aura picture and do that and have a look and see how it's changed. Has it changed without having done some work?
Okay, thank you.
I know it's a light. Yeah.
Well, the final words for me. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. You carry on.
Did you want to say something about that? It has not changed a lot,
just
hasn't
it? It has got lighter, so it's become a little more a background of more blues and lighter iridescent colors. So the wisdom seeker, and what I'm thinking comes in here is that this is where throat chakra is, more green, more blue, that bluey color. So it seems to be coming in with more blue and a little bit of purple as well. There is still some of the gold on the side, but it mainly is bringing in blue. So there is something, the wisdom, the divine wisdom is about speaking the truth and being able to look at things and see what they are. So that's what seems to be resonating right now.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank
For
you.
me, my closing words are, our wisdom is as deep as a well. This well of the
Yeah.
knowns. Yeah. For those who are willing to dive deep. Those are my closing words. So,
As deep as a well, an endless well.
yes, as deep as an endless well for those who are willing to dive
Who are willing.
deep.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, so wishing you a beautiful rest, the first Advent, diving deep in the well of wisdom, and everybody else who is
Yes.
watching and like keeping the thread, weaving the thread with us. Yeah, many
Yes.
blessings.
Yes. Very good. And we'll see them tomorrow. And we'll be
Yeah.
able to do another one. But what I will be doing again is putting it in my bra, because that works very well. And there is something about how the energy is shifting, and maybe that's something about intention. Most of the women that are here, they'll probably be already doing a lot, but there's a lot of women that don't actually do working with symbols and things like that. But just try, put it to your heart, wear it in the bra, just have an intention, and then just see what manifests. Just let your attention and your intention be around, so that you can receive what's coming. Yeah. That's the gift. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye bye. Black you.
Bye-bye.
Many blessings.